Still happening. I'll drink some water while I wait. Is it popping up? There it is. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Houston with a Problem. As always, problems abound everywhere. They're all over the place. They're firing on all cylinders, and they are amassing. But possible solutions may be on the horizon. I guess we will see. In the grand scheme of things, Trump has announced another trade deal with the EU, which results in us paying 15% tariffs to take anything from the EU. So if we want delicious cheese, wine, BMWs, luxury bags, tooling, anything like that, we pay 15%. If it's metals, aluminum, steel, things like that, we're paying 50% still. Trump made this announcement saying, oh, it's a great deal for all of us. They're going to buy so much of our agriculture, except most of our agriculture uses Roundup, and Roundup grown crops are illegal throughout the EU. So no, they're not going to be buying much agriculture from us. On top of that, France is like, yeah, every country has to approve this, and we're not going to approve it the way it is. So no, my collars are curled. Curly you are, callers. Same thing with his announced deal that he made with Japan. Japan's like, what? He claimed that Japan is going to invest $550 billion into the U.S. and Japan's like, no, we're not going to invest that. We'll be willing to lend you $550 billion at, interest rate and everything, which is exactly what Japan's been doing all along. So Trump is basically announcing that he made a trade deal that already exists because Japan is one of the largest holders of U.S. Treasury debt, and they said they're basically willing to keep buying Treasury bonds. Okay, so we got that out of the way. There's nothing going on, and then Trump's team announced that they're going to delay the tariffs again for another 90 days. So he tacoed once more. What else is happening? He cheated at golf a bunch of times. It was all caught on video yesterday. Dropping balls, kicking balls, pretending to place balls in the grass to avoid bunkers, etc. And then people started talking about how he's cheated at golf forever and that he somehow won club championships when he wasn't even there in the tournament, or he was the only person playing in the tournament. What else? Oh, GME news just before we went live. GME's Push Start Arcade did another little Buck the Bunny announcement showing an actual arcade and that it was now open, announcing that there'll be select invites to people to join. They're saying it's a different way to collect. I'm not even sure what that even means, but I guess we'll find out. And then I keep getting asked about the code people are deciphering. They have to do with these OTC swaps between BBBY bonds, shares, GME shares, and tied to some sort of Amazon price. And that it all should trigger on the 1st, which is Friday. And people are like, can you explain it? Honestly, I cannot. I've read the explanations of it over and over and over, and I still can't really wrap my head around what's even happening. I don't even know where the code is coming from. No one's posted a link to how they got the code. I mean, for all I know, somebody could have just typed it up in Notepad, taken a screenshot of it, and go, look. I don't know if they got it from a Bloomberg terminal, if they got it from some other source. I don't know where it came from. I hope it means good things. I hope it means there's a payout coming on the 1st. It appears, at least in E-Trade, there's flags for action happening on some of the BBBY bonds coming up, and the dates for those are also on the 1st. So I honestly don't know. I mean, I can bring up what was written here. I have to go click on that, go to there, scroll over to this, get down to here we go. Okay. So, well, first, before I click on that, I got to do the intro, and then I got to turn off the intro so that when I click away, nothing goes super wrong. Now go there. Now go to Chrome. This guy. There we go. Okay. So this is from BBBYQ QY BBB. Synchronized mirror structure, BBBY GME, how phantom equity becomes real. I've read this thing like 10 times and I still don't really grasp what's all playing here. I mean, they seem pretty stoked. The other people who have written about it seem pretty stoked. I still have no idea how it even works. Okay, this wasn't a hedge. It was a legally structured equity conversion engineered through IRS-sanctioned butterfly transactions, trust-based mechanics, and mirrored forward contracts timed to precision. Step 1, the setup. The trust loads its trigger. In Q2 of 2025, BBBY issued non-standard equity forwards. These are the codes for it. Blah, 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 blah. On July 1st, blah, 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 blah. From February of 2024. Asset BBY common stock. Trigger spread bet logic designed to vest upon target condition of Amazon being more than $220 cash. Settlement is cash. Okay, so whatever the swap is, the settlement is going to be money on the BBBY side if Amazon closes above 220 on the first. Okay. And right now Amazon's like 240. Where's Amazon at the moment? Let's check it out. AMZN price 232. Okay, I think we hit 240 after hours the other day, maybe yesterday, or last night. Investing date anchored to the bond forward maturity of August 1st, 2025, which I think is what a lot of the bonds are ticked to since bankruptcy. These contracts aren't ordinary derivatives; they're synthetic trust payout instructions. I have no idea what that means. Those are words I understand individually, but together I don't know what that actually means. In parallel, GME issued identical mirror forwards. So GME did something similar with those codes on the 1st and then on June 26th as well. Asset was GME Class A shares. Trigger, same spread bet logic, meaning Amazon above 220. Notably, the TJ7 GME forward was issued the same day as the BBBY C1P. This guy and this guy, both on July 1st. Okay, here's the code. I have no idea where this comes from. Somebody may have put it up in, looked up the root code of a website or something. I have no idea where it comes from. Not a clue. So, it's from somewhere. BBBY forwards initiate value. GME forwards receive it. Okay. 2, synchronized trust maturity window. So referencing their own little doodad there. BBBY also has bond forwards tied to its 2024, 2034, 2044 notes. These are the bonds that they've had, the 10-year, the 20-year, the 30-year, so etc. UPIs A80, B63, C67. So those are the codes for those ones. Settlement physical placeholders. Maturity anchored to August 1st, 2025, the converge point for synthetic vesting. So basically, either they get paid out with their cash or their equity, I assume. Probably 2024s is cash, and 34 and 44s are going to be equity, which is kind of what we were assuming. Yet GME issued no corresponding bond instruments. They have their 0% bonds that they issued, but they don't have anything to do with this, apparently. Instead, GME issued 0% convertible swap contracts. Those are the codes. Function absorbed phantom bond liability without issuing GME bonds directly. Structure synthetic cash physically settled receivers. Still don't really understand that. There's the code for all that. At the center of it all is a BBBY OTC swap. So this is the code for the OTC swap. This is over the counter. This is like generally hidden from the public, but somebody somewhere pulled the code out and I don't know where they got it from. Purpose, synthetic bridge between legacy BBBY debt and forward settled GME equity. So suggesting that if you have BBBY debt, you're going to get GME shares or equity for that debt. Okay, so equity instrument type swap written in here, but they're basically return form, single name, blah blah blah. So this is all the code for that. The instrument didn't mirror BBBY bonds directly. Instead, it acted as a phantom neutralizer, collapsing BBBY bond forwards into a single economic position then relaying that liability downstream in the GME's 0% convertible swap stack. The downstream GME swap stack, especially QZL blah blah blah, physically derivable, absorbed that recharacterized obligation as a forward settled equity exposure. Effectively, GME's bond class equals extinguished through internal netting. GME swap class absorbs residual value without debt issuance. No dilution, no registration, no trace. So basically, it's a way of getting shares to the bondholders without having to register that shares have been sold or created or anything like that. I think. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. It transferred synthetic DNA between entities using PLR, sanctioned cancellation, and trust forward substitution mechanics. Legal blueprint IRS PLR 2023-39007. This was the question asked at I remember a few months ago, somebody was searching the IRS website and they found a company that had gone bankrupt, that was possibly going through restructuring and reorganization. And they asked about tax liabilities if they did certain things. And then this was the answer, talking about business one, business two, business A, business B, whatever, everything. And people kind of assumed it had to do with DK Butterfly because it was very specific to things that DK Butterfly was doing with their legal notices and payment plans and all that stuff. Okay, so step 6 through 10, the Butterfly transaction. 3-party share swap, distributing controlled Q. Oh gosh, the cat's yelling at me. One sec. Kitty, the worst. Get in here and shut up. I'm trying to read. Okay. Okay. Preferred equity issued redeemed. Bilateral debt cancellation, note 1, note 2. So this is from that document. It's step 6, using a 3-party share exchange, which involves share transfer and equity issuance among 3 entities. So you're going to have GME, BBBY, and AMZN or something. I'm not really sure. Contemporaneously as a single transaction. So I guess imagine it like a multi-team trade in baseball before the trade deadline or something. Distributing 2 will transfer distributing 1 Butterfly shares that it holds and distributing 1 directly to controlled 1. Distributing 2 will transfer distributing 1 shares that it holds and distributing 1 directly to controlled 1. In consideration for acquiring distributing 1 Butterfly shares, controlled... Gosh, dang it, you little monster. Stop. I'm trying to do things, you freak. And you're covered in shit. Clean yourself before you do anything. Stop it. Stop rubbing your face on the magnets. Stop it. I'll punch you. Okay, chill out. Nope. Stop it. In consideration for the shares in controlled 1 that is issued to it, Company Q will issue additional equity interests to distributing 2. Step 7, distributing 1 will transfer business B to controlled 1 in exchange for the issuance of preferred shares in controlled 1, the controlled 1 Butterfly shares. Step 8, distributing 1 will redeem the distributing 1 Butterfly shares held by controlled 1 in exchange for a note 1. Okay, so basically saying there's bonds, we're going to give you shares, bonds are no more. Step 9, controlled 1 will redeem the controlled 1 Butterfly shares held by distributing 1 in exchange for note 2. So my guess is note 1 are 2034s and note 2 are 2044s. That'd be my guess, is that's why those two are going to receive shares. Note 0 would be the 2044s, which are 2024s, which are going to probably just get cash for whatever it is they do. It's my guess. They're just going to get cash. Okay. Step 10, note 1 and note 2 owed between distributing 1 and controlled 1 will be settled in repayment of one another. Steps 3 through 10 are referred to as the Butterfly transaction or internal spin 1. Okay. Step 11, with X days of the Butterfly transaction, within X days of the Butterfly transaction, distributing 1 will complete a cash true-up transfer to complete any additional Butterfly types of property balancing to ensure pro rata compliance at the time of the Butterfly transaction, the true-up payment. Okay. And then we got internal spins 2 through 4. Step 12, distributing 2 will distribute all of the issued and outstanding membership interests of company Q to distributing 3, internal spin 2. Step 13, distributing 3 will make pro rata distribution to its shareholders, whereby distributing 3 will distribute. I don't know. I don't know who these could possibly be. All right. So anyway, and he's giving huge credits to Bobby Cat for delivering the PLR months ago. Statutory protection. So we got subsection 325, tax spinoff, subsection 368, A1D, tax-free organization. 368 is that we've talked about a lot. It is basically the nulls going forward, and with new ownership. The structure allows phantom liabilities to be extinguished and redistributed as forward sold equity without dilution or tax recognition. Basically saying, hey, we have all this debt. We're going to give you some shares, and the debt is gone. You take it whether you like it or not, tax-free. And the bondholders go, what choice do we have? None. August 1st, 2025, trigger date. So it's all supposed to happen, I guess, at close on 2025, or August 1st, 2025, if Amazon is above 220. Bond forwards reach synthetic maturity. BBBY equity forwards vest trust value. GME equity forwards absorb that value. BBBY bond claims are neutralized via swap, because you are trading equity for that debt. Gone. The entire mechanism is statutory compliant, IRS blessed, and bankruptcy protected. This is a trust-based gene transfer using swaps instead of a scalpel, codified under tax and reorganization laws. A swap that doesn't swap value but transfers it legally, silently, and pre-engineered statutory trigger. This isn't a recapitalization, it's a redemption. You survive the worst, synthetic days are flying off, the page is turning, and once it turns, real time begins. So, I still don't exactly understand all the mechanisms in place, because it is, I mean, I am no expert on OTC swap coding in general. I am a very poor programmer, especially since I really haven't done much programming in 20 years. Aside from making some crappy crypto coins I can't figure out how to distribute to anybody because it's too expensive. Like, that's all programming I've done of late. So I still don't know where any of this comes from, where any of these guys come from at all. I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know where they got it from originally. I wish someone would just point to a website and go, it's right there. But I've not seen that yet. If anybody has it, send it my way. I would love to at least see the source for it all. I like the theory, even if I don't necessarily understand exactly what's swapping and how it's swapping, the mechanics behind it. It does seem like they're getting rid of the bonds by giving them GME, and possibly getting rid of the BBBY shares by giving them GME. So how many shares that would be, not a clue. I don't know what that would mean for dilution. I don't know if it's going to be a 1-for-1 for the BBBY shares. I don't know if it's going to be 100-to-1. I don't know. But if the BBBY bonds are becoming shares and not cash, that leaves, what, $1.5 billion more to be distributed to shareholders in lieu of that cash that would be going to the bondholders. So they would get cash plus equity as a result, I assume. And then we still don't know how many BBBY shares there actually are. There could be 750 million of them. There could be 90 million of them. We really don't know, because nothing has been truly defined in any of these lawsuits against Ryan Cohen or Hudson Bay Capital. I guess we'll see what happens on the 1st, or maybe on the 4th when the market opens again. But I don't know, man. I really have no clue. It seems promising. However it's working. I really hope it is awesome and not just something somebody threw together a notepad to get us all psyched up about something on the 1st. But yeah. I guess I really need to sit down with some like swap master and have them go through all this with me as if I am a toddler until I fully understand exactly what's going on. Like I can basically look at the code and be like, okay, these are like if then else's happening with if the value is of a certain thing, this happens, etc. But beyond that, I don't know. Underlying instrument delivery cash, so someone's getting cash in there, right? Which is probably BBBY shareholders, be my guess. Now, we'll see. Okay, so I'm sure we can go back to this and reference it more and see what's happening. Okay, there's a super chat I missed. Bill Coyne, Wall Street Journal is running multiple articles praising Trump. Trump's approval rating remained resilient. The meeting with Powell be a masterstroke, and so on. I think it depends on if it's coming from the Wall Street Journal editorial board. Those people are insane. If it's coming from the journalists, that is very different. Trump has demanded that Murdoch get deposed within the next 15 days. Like, we aren't even through any discovery phase whatsoever, but they want him deposed now. So there's that. We'll see. The editorial board at Wall Street Journal is completely separate from their journalistic side. They really are not similar in paths they've passed there. So I don't have a subscription to Wall Street Journal, so I only get free articles sent to me basically, or if they have ones without the pay service on there. But the editorial board loves them, absolutely loves them. There are a whole bunch of sycophants on there, but yeah. Okay. And 9 asks, what's in the box, Houston? I hope money. Wait, where'd that go? Why is this all... Okay. Oh, sorry, N9. You weren't first. I should not have read you first. But King Ding Dong was first. He says, howdy. How is you guys doing the move to California? If so, awesome. You'll like Glendale. You'll like, Frogtown, Atwater Village, Silver Lake, Pasadena. Wherever you end up, you're going to like it there. It's lovely. I mean, except for when it's on fire. But outside of when it's on fire, it's pretty lovely. Chillface was second. Brandon Wells, sup BBBY, sup No Labs. Well, we just went BBBY. No Labs, I haven't seen the vote tab total. I haven't looked at it. I assume that they're going to be doing the split because one man controls the company. So that's happening. Steel Horse Nomad, what spooked the markets today? I think a combination of Japan saying, no, we don't have a trade deal, and what was proposed in a trade deal is completely different than what Trump is telling everyone, combined with the EU being like, we have a structure for a trade deal, but none of the EU countries actually agree upon it. I think those are the two big things that spooked the market. Michael hi. Lisa Sa. No Labs delayed their extraordinary shareholders meeting to this week, 31st. Perhaps they don't have enough approval to dilute. I can't imagine they wouldn't have enough approval to dilute because Gary controls everything. I mean, he controls more than half the company. So I don't know. I don't know why I saw that they adjourned it until the 31st. I've not seen anything about vote totals. Maybe they weren't able to count all the votes in time or something. I don't know. But I guess we'll find out. Sometimes Somalia, GME traded 83% off exchange. When will this crime spree end? That's the stuff that's insane. Like, I think you just get rid of dark pools in general. Just eliminate them. The idea behind dark pools originally was, hey, I'm General Electric. I want to buy this company, but I want to do it so that everyone sees and the stock price goes to the roof and then we can't buy them. So I'm going to be able to have some sort of outlet outside the market where I can make this huge transaction that isn't really tied to market price. That was kind of the idea behind these dark pools. And then the dark pools started just being over-the-counter trades for anybody. And so market makers, rather than going through lit exchanges, would go through these dark pools so that price action could not be discovered by anybody. And so it's abusing the whole system. So I say, get rid of dark pools, and we're just going to have to deal with giant companies wanting to buy other companies and have to do it through the lit markets. Tough shit. You want to buy that company and you demand those shares? Guess what? Go buy them. Go get them through the lit exchange and watch that stock price fly as the demand increases. That's just capitalism, baby. So I say we do that. Jason Blackwell, Houston. This morning, Trump said the Epstein list is a conspiracy theory, and in the next breath said Bill Clinton's on the list. Exactly. He was like, Bill Clinton's on the list. There's some hedge fund people on the list. I can get you the list if you need it. After saying that there was no list. So, the Ghislaine Maxwell thing, I think, is definitely a quid pro quo. She's going to name Trump's enemies as being on the list, and she's going to say that Trump never had anything to do with any of it, and then Trump's going to either commute her sentence or give her a pardon. I really hope that if she gets commuted or pardoned, that individual states then charge her with felonies and take that pedophile to prison. The victims, the Epstein and Maxwell victims, under oath and testimony and interviews have stated that Maxwell appeared to be the mastermind behind all of this, and that she referred to the girls as her slaves and made them refer to themselves as her slaves. That they're the one, so she's the one who conditioned them, who then forced them to do these things for Epstein. She's his number two, man. She's the executive assistant who managed and made sure all this stuff happened. She is an evil, evil, evil woman. I read a Twitter thread the other day about the serial killer in Canada who basically, this man and wife kidnapped young girls, raped and murdered them. Like 30 plus of these girls. And they made this deal with the devil where they gave the wife a reduced sentence in exchange for her testimony that the husband was, an evil person, that she too was a victim. And after they made this deal with her, video came out of her being the one in charge, basically forcing the girls to go through these horrible things and then murdering them. That she wasn't a victim. She was just as awful. That's Ghislaine Maxwell. They're making a deal with the devil here. She is an evil human being who does horrible, horrible things, has no compassion for anybody, and will do whatever's best for her. And if that is lie through her teeth because she's already, proven to be a perjurer in trial, stop it, dude. You're such a monster. So yeah, but for Trump to save his own skin, he'll think that, if Ghislaine Maxwell goes up there and says, I had nothing to do with it, everyone will believe me. They're not. They're not going to believe me. Fine. You want drugs? You want to get stoned, you little drug addict? Yeah, get in there. Eat it. Yeah. See if I care. If you're on the streets begging for another hit. Okay. Cat. It's all gross. It's all really gross. Trump did horrible things with young ladies and women. Epstein did horrible things with young ladies and women. Maxwell did horrible things with young ladies and women. They're all monsters. And I'm sick that half this country will believe whatever excuse Trump gives them because he's their God King who can do no wrong, and he lives without sin. Even though he's watched him cheat 3 times in golf yesterday, minimum. Okay. Robert Manson. Did you see Jake 2B's video? A little complicated for me, but I believe the Reader's Digest version. A change of control happened, and another one can't happen for 2 years. His assertion that the clock started ticking mid-July to first week in October. So new hype date. Your thoughts? Yeah. The way the nulls work is, if there's a change in control, which it appears from courtroom transcripts that State Street was going to make a credit bid on the company, on the shell. We never saw the actual credit bid because there's still docs that are missing, and there are still closed hearings that nobody had any access to because of privileged information and so on. I don't understand if this is an open and shut, Chapter 7 case, as the Meltdowners want you to believe, why there would even be closed sessions, withheld documents because of corporate secrets. If there's corporate secrets, then this isn't your run-of-the-mill liquidation. This is something else. So, yes, I do think there's a change in control. I do think a change in control, in order for the butterfly transaction to go through, had to wait 2 years, and it probably happened sometime between the end of June 2023 and the plan being enacted at the end of September 2023. So hopefully all this code here for this weird OTC swap is the first, and we find out some cool things on the first or the second or the third or the fourth. Otherwise, we wait. Ramez Jamali, he's been jumping all over Twitter recently. He's claiming that the BBY people are going to get $200 or more a share, which would be cool. I mean, you know, I'll gladly be an overnight millionaire. If we're going to get cash for the shares, for our shares, I want also equity in whatever new is happening. Give us cash, give us equity, give us warrants. Cash, equity, and warrants, and that would force an unimaginable squeeze. I've talked about this before. Now, with BBBY, we don't quite know how many shares there are. Total shares outstanding, we have no clue. Like, none. Number two, we don't know what the short interest is. That short interest, just from volumes alone, suggests it could be in the billions of shares. So if it is 1 to 5 billion shares, any cash gets multiplied by a billion or more. So let's say it's $200 a share, right? And there's 5 billion short shares. That's $1 trillion. Right? That's $1 trillion they've got to go come up with from somewhere for payments in lieu to a whole bunch of weirdos who, you know, spent a few $1,000s on a few thousand shares in a bankrupt company 2 years ago. That is destroy market makers, destroy hedge funds kind of cash. If on top of that, you know, they're having to come up with all this cash they can't find anywhere because that kind of type of cash does not exist, they're going to be facing liquidations, and they're going to be facing forced buying of stock to close out positions because they just can't come up with the money, right? On top of that, if you issue shares as well in GameStop, right? So you do a 1-for-1 on GameStop. Now they got to go find 5 billion shares of GameStop that do not exist. So they got to go on the market and buy GameStop 15 times over, causing GameStop to go into the moon, which, you know, Ryan Cohen could issue more GameStop shares, raise a bunch more of the company, etc., and just fuck us on that. At the same time, if they issue warrants, the warrants also have to be provided payment in lieu, meaning they have to go out and buy the warrants to give to those 5 billion shares that they created out of thin air through naked short selling, causing the price of the warrants to go through the roof while the stock price is going through the roof, making the warrants go through the roof even more, making the stock price go through the roof even more. And if everyone is sitting on their thumbs and not selling anything, you're getting phone book numbers for all this stuff. On top of, you know, if you have 10,000 shares of BBBY and you get something miraculous like $200 a share, you now have $2 million cash, tax-free cash in your account, which means you can spend all of it. So you find yourself Monday morning, you wake up, look at your Fidelity account or whatever, and you've got $2 million cash in there. What are you going to do? You're going to go out and you're going to buy 40,000 GME calls and force a gamma squeeze on top of the fact the stock price will be going through the roof for everybody else. So this has every potential to be as diabolical as anything has ever existed in the market, and to be truly the greatest short killer. If that happens, I will be able to forgive Ryan Cohen for diluting on us several times when we could have had a hell of a gamma ramp, right? All I care about is end result, actually generating value for shareholders through money. That's the entire reason I invested something, is to get money out of it. So get me some fucking money, right? That's the whole point. So money. Anywho, I really hope this thing is what everyone is saying it is. That this is the butterfly transaction happening in tandem with that IRS question being answered, and that it all just rains from the heavens. Wouldn't that be great to get our cash before the US dollar absolutely just bottoms out? That'd be great. Just take all my cash and swap into euros. And anywho, Lisa saw. So Melania was an Epstein girl. Could she have been a victim of human trafficking? Trump models, MC2 models, the one that Cabela dude was part of, they were all seen to be trafficking. There are former Trump models who talked about how the lies they were supposed to tell immigration, why they were here, what they were doing, if they got caught, the lies they were supposed to tell them. A lot of them were underage. A lot of them from poor Eastern European countries where it was easy to go collect girls back in the day because the parents would like literally sell their children to anybody. They're like, oh, I got too many of them. Here, take one of them. And I have a feeling that Melania probably was very much a part of that. She came over on an Einstein Genius visa. It was claimed that she spoke like 6 languages and had this fancy college degree. She never went to college. She doesn't speak all those languages. That was a complete fabrication. The first time she and Trump boned was on Epstein's jet, the Lolita Express. She definitely was part of that world. Whether she was trafficked or whether she was also an evil witch who was part of that whole thing remains to be seen. But she did marry Trump, knowing full well what a monster Trump was. So, she sold her soul somewhere along the way. And just like Maxwell did. So, yeah. And 9, do you think the Epstein files will ever actually be released? I think we'll see wars before that ever happens. I honestly don't know. I know Congress will try. I know the FBI will claim executive privilege. I know that there's people inside the FBI who are pissed about the cover-up and will probably end up leaking Deep Throat style to somebody. I know that people will probably end up going to jail for trying to leak such things and be declared traitors or violating their oath of office or whatever. All it takes is one person with some fortitude or some real set on them, right? To go, you know what, screw this. Because they know that they're going to be, if they do it, they're going to be a national hero. If they do become a pariah to whoever's in power. To everyone else, they're going to be a hero. They're going to be a reality winner. They're going to be a Chelsea Manning. Like, those folks are heroes. Even if they did get punished by the state. So, someone at the FBI is probably looking down a firing anyway because they're trying to fire everybody. So they may as well go out with a bang. File whistleblower status with Congress. Give your whole stack of data to like AOC or something. And then go sit. Because they can't do anything to you once you get that whistleblower status. The information has been given to Congress. So just go do it already. Just do it. I mean, there was 1,000 FBI agents who had access to all these files, whose entire job it was to flag anything that mentioned Trump. This was like a giant, think of it as like a Google Doc with 1,000 people having access to it. You gotta believe that screenshots were taken, photographs of computer monitors were taken, files were downloaded. If 1,000 people were going through this going, holy shit. We're talking images and videos of women and children being tortured, raped, humiliated with the men who were doing it in image. Some of the victims have talked about FBI asking them to identify if that was them in the photos with these men and women, right? So we know that there is evidence of these crimes on celluloid and digital files. And we know that the victims have stated they've been shown this material and asked if that was them. and to identify the people in the photo with them doing the crime to them. So that stuff exists. All we want to know is who was identified in those photographs doing the crimes. I don't care about the victims. Well, no, I care about the victims. I don't care about the victims being released and their names and their photos being released, but I want to know who the perpetrators are in those photos and videos. That's the list. The list is who was in those videos and photos doing those things to those girls. And I hope there's somebody left at the FBI or in the White House or the Department of Justice who has access to this stuff and goes, enough is enough, and just deep throats it. Meets somebody in a parking lot and goes, here's what you need, thumb drive, and they're out, right? Give it to someone at the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, one of the big papers. They'll ProPublica, someone. N9 says, yippee, new hype dates. I know, we're hyping all over the place over here. Lisa saw, he's gone from, are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Yeah, can't read. He's gone from, are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein, to Bill Clinton went to the island 23 times. Interesting thing about Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton definitely is a sexualizing horn dog, 100%. But the women who were interviewed, and there's a pretty well-known photograph of Bill Clinton at an airport in Portugal. So he took Jeffrey Epstein's plane to Africa to do some aid work, and they stopped off in Portugal for refueling. And there's an image of a young woman massaging Bill Clinton's shoulders in like the terminal at the airport. And the young woman was asked about that, and she was, I think, 22 at the time. And she said that Epstein wasn't with them, but Ghislaine Maxwell was. And Bill Clinton had, I guess, fallen asleep in the chair in the airplane and was really stiff. And so Maxwell said, why don't you give Bill a massage, young lady? And the girl's like, okay. And so she did. She gave Bill Clinton a massage. And then she said everything on the trip he was a perfect gentleman. He never even once tried to get anybody's panties. He did not act like a horn dog. He never did that stuff. So at least the one person who interacted with him on that, had nothing dirty to say about him. But if Bill Clinton did do horrible things and at the island and elsewhere, yeah, send his ass to prison. I have no qualms about that. Anyone involved should be removed from public and locked away forever. That's simple. It's not too hard to figure out. I think a lot of Republicans do not understand that Democrats are more than willing to eat their own if their own do wrong things. Anthony Weiner was a rising star, thought to be somebody who could be a VP or a president or a cabinet member. He did wrong things. We chopped his head off and threw him to the wolves. We will turn on you so quickly. He was Jon Stewart's college roommate, and Jon Stewart will have nothing to do with him once he found out about this stuff. We will eat our own if they do wrong things. Republicans won't do that. Republicans won't even let charges happen. They know that Matt Gaetz was paying for sex with underage girls. They know it. And yet they protected him again and again. Trump even tried to make him attorney general. So they don't understand that Democrats don't care. If you are a criminal and you're one of us, we want you out. We don't want you in our party. Go away. Fuck off. Right? Get charged. And so this whole if you push that button, release the files, Bill Clinton might go to prison. People are like, okay, bonk. I have no ties to this. I do not care. Done. The world is now a better place. Danny Moat Houston, happy birthday. I got a sneaking feeling G-Me will have a big bump very soon. I hope so. I would love to have, my 15,000 BBY shares turn to 15,000 G-Me shares, add to my couple thousand I already have, and then have just crooked numbers happen to all of it while getting piles of cash that I can just throw into options and watch go, and then just turn off my brain forever and go sit on a beach and read books. That would be it. Magic. So magical. Oh, that'd be magical, little fat turd. I'll give you a giant pile of catnip and you can just live off of that. Being the most annoying little fat guy in the entire world. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Would you love to go to a beach? I bet you would. I bet you'd be a great beach cat, huh? Yeah, I bet you'd get some fish. Probably lose some weight in the sunshine. Okay. Lisa saw. Treats for the cat pets, please. Also, have you been able to see the murder kitten from your old house recently? No, I've not. I should ask for pictures of ye old murder kitty. Right? Would you like to see what Amuna's up to? Huh? Huh? Are you gonna bite me? You gonna bite me? Oh, you can't bite me. You're too fat. You're too fat to reach your foot. But we can give Monkey a treat. Monkey butt. Ooh, it's a little guy. It's a little guy, Monkey. Nope, that's not for you, Ding Dong. That's for the monkey butt. You can try to eat it, but you do not have the face muscles to be able to eat a thing like this. That's for the fat. That's for the dog. Monkey butt. Come on. Over here. Come on. Okay, come around. Over here. Come on. All the way around. Come on. Or I guess come through. There you go there. Got it? There you go. All right. She's like, did the bare minimum. She's been sitting in the sunshine all day. She's probably just so melty. Corporate Walnut, let's talk about diversifying away from US dollar. Super Chat's in. Yeah. I mean, depending on what type of payout we get one of these days, I am looking at just piecing out. Whether it's to go to Canada, Australia, Mediterranean, I don't know, Caribbean island nation. And if I do so, and the orange guy is still in charge, destroying the US dollar, I'm going to want to get my US dollars out of US dollars as fast as possible. So, you know, you're going to want things, you put your money into an international bank, ask for the conversion. They'll probably take a percentage for the Forex fees. You could probably, you know, look for credit cards or charge cards that have no Forex fees to get the best value for the swap. But the US dollar is going to keep crumbling against euro, against Swiss francs, against yen, against anything else. So, yeah, you're probably going to want to get your money out of US dollars at this point. You can put it in gold. You can put it in, if you want to battle inflation, you need people looking at crypto. But I think crypto will probably crash along with everything else when the market goes down, just because so much capital that at the moment can't be borrowed against is tied up in crypto that they have to sell it off in order to meet liquidity requirements and capital requirements for a lot of trades they're doing. Which is why, you know, we saw crypto go from $100,000 to 70-something thousand as the market was dropping as well. And then when the market rebounded, so did crypto. So I think that crypto's not quite the hedge for inflation as people claim it is, because it's being used so much by hedge funds and market makers, etc., and banks. So I think it's safer. It's probably safer to go into a stable currency that's not trying to devalue itself like euros and whatnot. I mean, if you get enough money, let's say, you know, with your 10,000 BBBY shares, I know a lot of you have a lot more than that. There's several of you that have millions that popped up into our chats. You get crazy amounts of money, absolutely insane amounts. The price of anything doesn't matter. You're in 8-9 figure zone, right? You get that kind of money. You can go to a tax-free haven like Monaco, Monte Carlo. You can buy yourself a house, apartment, a bungalow, whatever. It will cost you a fortune, but you now live tax-free. You're now in a euro system. Money doesn't really matter. You got more cash than you ever have to worry about having to spend. You can go to Caribbean island nations. You can go to the Caymans, Aruba, Bahamas, etc. You can buy yourself citizenship or passport. You can start collecting passports. You can take $250,000 cash, put it into an investment portfolio in Portugal, and in 5 years become a Portuguese citizen. You'll have to spend 7 days a year there. Oh no, I gotta go spend 7 days in Portugal in order to meet my requirements to get European citizenship. And then you have yourself a powerful passport that gets you anywhere, basically. You don't even have to be a U.S. citizen anymore. You can be like, I'm over it. I'm done being a U.S. citizen. I'll be a European citizen or one of these island nation citizens. There's a lot out there that you can do to sort of just avoid this crap. If we did not have a complete insane person in charge of everything, I would not advocate leaving. I'd be like, why would you leave? This country's awesome. Like I love the United States of America. I love getting in my truck and seeing all the cool shit we have in this country, and driving around, climbing hills, smashing rocks, going to rivers and waterfalls and lakes, and meeting people at diners and parks, and just doing all the cool stuff. I love it. But if we're going to be spending $160 billion a year on secret police forces to go around and just harass and torment people all day long, then this isn't the America. It is a place with a lot of cool geography, filled with a lot of shitty people, and you gotta decide, like, where's the worth for you? Is hanging around hoping things get better and then ending up in a gulag really the way to go? Or just being like, I'm gonna go enjoy my life and take as many people as I can with me so that they can enjoy life too. So yeah. Here's Miami. Active shooter on Park Avenue in Midtown Manhattan. Multiple down, including police officer. He's inside Blackstone building. Oh my. Sounds like a disgruntled investor of some kind, a conspiracy theorist of some kind. Someone who's had a little much, decided to go after one of the people that pull the strings behind everything. What's happening there? Okay, let's click on the news here. Okay, apparently I can't type. Let's try that again. That's an L, not a period. Okay. Active shooter. Nothing's... Oh, okay. Active shooter Blackstone. Blackstone is the one who bought all that property. 13 minutes ago, active shooter reported at Park Avenue skyscraper. A crazed gunman wearing a bulletproof vest and carrying an assault rifle opened fire inside a swanky midtown skyscraper that houses the... This is New York Post. So, 2 hurt, including cop in serious condition, as active shooter reported at Park Avenue skyscraper housing Blackstone and NFL headquarters. Somebody who lost a lot of money in bets. Crazy gunman wearing a bulletproof vest opened fire inside the thing. Okay, got cops outside. At least one police officer was shot in the scene. Good condition. He barricaded himself inside and was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Oh, it's over now. Okay. So, well, it's over. There we go. Excellent. Good. Don't need that crap going on. Goodness gracious. It's amazing to me. I mean, we have a lot of really awful mass shootings in this country. People armed to the teeth, going after, and just... I wonder what type of glory they think is going on in their heads. Like, is it, if I'm going down, taking you all with me type mentality? Is it, I will live on forever if I do this? Is it, the lizard people in my head are telling me to do these things? But a lot of them don't really seem to accomplish much. Like, this dude had an AR-15 and shot 2 people after, like, firing off 1 million times, and his brain is like a video game. He's like, I'm just going to get so many people, and then it ended up being not as prolific as he wanted, and so he just was like, well, that's it. Like, seriously, just do the first. You don't have to like shoot other people unless you're like Luigi Mangione and you're just taking care of business when it comes to insurance executives. Just do the first, usually. Okay. Kelly, happy birthday, HW. What's your thoughts for the future generations going to be dealing with everything from climate change to global economy? Screwed. Global temperatures are rising so fast, and we're getting these crazy things now called marine heat waves, which means the ocean isn't there to cool you off anymore. So like Tampa Bay it's a hot, humid place, right? Summers are miserable. They're hot. They're humid. It's like staying inside someone's mouth. It does not reach 100 degrees in Tampa and has never reached 100 degrees Fahrenheit in Tampa because of the cooling effects of the Gulf until this week, where the Gulf is 100 degrees, the air temperature is 100 degrees, and everyone in Tampa's like, what the hell? It never does this. Because it never had before. We've broken the climate to the point where temperatures are being reached that never got reached in these marine environments. I went to school in Hawaii. Hawaii, if it was insanely hot, it was 87 degrees outside. Humidity would have been like 80, 90%, but it's 87 degrees outside. People are like, whoa, it's a hot one. They're reaching temperatures in the 90s and flirting with 100 degrees, and it's never supposed to get that hot there. They're surrounded by ocean. The ocean's supposed to temper the climate, and then you have these trade winds come in all the time, bringing in cool breezes. It's not supposed to get that hot, but it is now. We're now pushing that thermocline further and further north for longer and longer periods of time, and the heat has nowhere to go. So what these future generations are going to end up with, especially if we have these policies that are going through, which we're basically eliminating food security and getting rid of all the people that grow the food, and we're sucking so much water out of the ground, there's not going to be water to grow food later. And that when rain comes, it comes in these giant deluges that we can't even trap and isn't even good for plants because it just murders everything. We're going to be facing a lot of food insecurity on this planet. A lot of it. We're going to have huge marine die-offs because of the heat and the carbon dioxide buildups making carbonic acid. We're going to have entire regions become so arid and prone to flash floods that nothing grows, period. We're losing so much of our surface water. I really think that we're at a point where, and without U.S. aid and other large infrastructure to be able to get food to people, that without that structure, without the infrastructure, we're just going to see mass starvation globally on scales that you can't imagine. And if you think immigration is bad now, just wait until 3 billion people are facing food insecurities. They will do anything to get food and water. Anything. So immigration will become a gigantic problem because they're going to go to where they think the food and water is. And since money talks and rich nations have money, they will gladly buy out the stocks of poor developing nations for all their food and let their population starve to get what they can now. So we're going to be dealing with just awful numbers of dead, dying, starving refugees, wars, economic ruin, collapsed dollars, demographic collapse in modern nations that don't have the ability to repopulate themselves. And you have a lot of these nations that, don't come from colonial backgrounds. So, think of European nations. Colonialism. They went all over the world. We went to Latin America, went to Southeast Asia, went to South Asia, went to Africa. And so their populations oftentimes reflect those who they conquered and colonized, right? So you go to the UK, there's lots of, people from India and Pakistan and South Africa and, etc., Jamaica. Because those are people that they conquered and they're part of the Commonwealth now, and so it's easy. Immigration is easy. You go to France, you get people from Algeria and Sierra Leone and Ivory Coast and whatnot. You go to Spain, you get folks that are from the Americas mixed in with everybody in Morocco and everything else. So demographic collapse in those areas, immigrants come in, generally from former protectorates, former colonies, etc. You get demographic collapse in places like Japan and China, which historically were not necessarily colonizers. They're scared of immigration in a way that even xenophobic Americans don't know how to be scared of immigration. So they'll let a few in. You can come in, you can be our token, white person working at this company. But they're not going to let mass scale people from Kenya or Bangladesh come into China and take a bunch of Chinese jobs, even though China's going to have half the population it does now in 30 years. So there's going to be giant demographic collapse in a lot of places. And demographic collapse leads to desperation because you got folks in these collapsing cities. There's no jobs, there's no food, there's no infrastructure, there's no way to get things. And they might not have the cash or the funds or the ability or the car to leave and go somewhere else. And so then they are stuck scavenging and hunting in this collapsed city, looking for better ways and better days outside of it. Kind of like, just think about, angry hillbillies in dead towns throughout America that haven't left, right? You're going to have that on a scale in places like China. It'll be insane. So how are they going to deal with all of it? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be, if we're going to be at a point where the solution beyond giant societal collapse in general, and then this long, slow, dark ages rebuild back into something better again. There's going to be really cool abandoned places to explore, that's for sure. Hopefully, we get paid before then, so we can enjoy ourselves in that meantime. Anywho, I gotta go. I'll see you guys tomorrow for a show. It would be Charity Tuesday tomorrow, but we can't do charity shows until YouTube figures out how we can again. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, maybe someone will be able to point me to the source for all this code for this swap, so I can see it for myself where it came from, rather than just interpret what other people say it is. I'd like that. Anyway, you guys have a great day. I'll catch you tomorrow. Sorry, I didn't even make it to the start of the show today in the chat. So, yay! Okay, make the world blow up. Boink.